Hey everybody, I'm Christy and I am in the Ramsey Ranch kitchen here in the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee. And today we are getting in the kitchen and cooking up something good. We are going to make a caramelized onion, bacon, and smoked cheddar cheese quiche. You absolutely do not want to miss this. So come in the kitchen with us and let's get cooking.
Oh, it's a simple living in the hills of Tennessee. But Brooks and Christy say that's the life for me.
So the first thing we're going to need to do is grate 2 cups of our smoked cheddar cheese. And I'm going to use the Pampered Chef adjustable coarse grater here. This is actually the older model. I've had this one for probably about 10 years. And they do still sell it. It is basically the same. It's just had some color changes. But it does have this protective holder here so that you don't slice your fingers open. And you just rub the grater up and down there. And I'm going to put the cheese inside of the little holder there. And it's got the little tongs that keep the cheese in, and we're just going to go ahead and press the handle down into the cheese and move it up and down over the grater, and watch as that cheese just grates so nicely. This is such an easy and safe tool to use. I'm probably only going to use 2 of these blocks in the recipe because it only does call for 2 cups of the cheese, but I'm going to grate it all just because we can always use grated cheese in something else, and it's always nice to have it on hand. You can also use the grater without the protective cover and the food holder. I would recommend using great caution. Once my mom actually sliced her finger open because she did not use the protective cover, and we ended up in the urgent care. So you can do it, and I'm going to show you how I do it very carefully, but I do love that this has the protective food pusher that slides up and down on the grater. Those 4 little blocks of the smoked cheddar that I grated yielded about 4 cups of cheese, and you can see how nicely grated that it is. I'm going to go ahead and store those away in one of our silicone prep bowls, which is another one of my favorite products from Pampered Chef. It comes with 3 different bowls. They are actually oven safe as well. And those actually need to be on my favorites list because I use them all the time. I've got 2 medium to large size onions that I have peeled and cut in half. And I'm going to use the Rapid Prep mandolin to slice these onions very quickly and very evenly so that they are even within the quiche. It has 2 knobs. The top one determines how it slices or makes into French fries or juliennes. The bottom one measures how thick that you do it, from really tiny all the way up to like a large French fry size. You just turn the knob to however you decide that you want to cut your onions. I'm going to kind of do these somewhere in the middle, and this container hooks right on to the mandolin and everything just falls right in. It is a super safe way to chop your vegetables. No more skinned up hands. There's plenty of safety measures in place, and just watch how it works. I've just put the half of an onion there in the food chute, and I have the food presser there, and I'm just plunging up and down with the blades, and it goes right through into the bowl. Super easy, very fast. No tears with these onions because you're kind of doing it away from you. And within the matter of a minute or so, I have 2 good size onions completely chopped up into even size slices so that we can get those caramelized for this quiche. Okay, here we are back at the stove. The next step is to fry up 8 slices of bacon for this recipe. I am using the Pampered Chef non-stick stainless steel skillet. This is the 12-inch, and y'all have probably seen me use it 1,000 times because I use it and use it and use it and use it some more. I love this pan. It just cooks wonderfully and it cleans up wonderfully, and it really is non-stick. And in no time flat, our bacon is nice and crispy without being overdone. I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the pan and put it on some paper towels to drain. And then we're going to get ready to get those beautiful onions nice and caramelized. I removed most of the bacon grease. I saved about 2 tablespoons of the bacon grease to use to caramelize our onions. You can certainly drain off all of the bacon grease and use 2 tablespoons of butter if you prefer to do that. But I think the bacon grease definitely is going to add more flavor to these beautiful onions. I'm adding in a sprinkling of sea salt and a few grinds of black pepper. Now this process is going to take 15 to 20 minutes, but with the magic of television, it will probably take about 30 seconds as you watch the time lapse of the onions cooking down. You're just going to need to stir them every couple minutes as they brown, and so that you can toss them around that pan, because the bottom of the pan is going to help caramelize those onions a little bit at a time. I'm going to put you on a bit of a time lapse here so that you can watch the process sped up of the caramelizing of the onions. You're just going to want them to get a golden brown. Keep stirring, keep moving them around that pan every few minutes until they reach a nice deep golden brown color. About 20 minutes has gone by and I believe our onions are done. And take a look at that nice brown color that the onions have. Those are going to be so good. Our bacon has drained, and I'm using the Pampered Chef kitchen shears to go ahead and chop that up into large bite-sized pieces. And then I'm going to set that aside and get our eggs beaten. We're going to need 8 eggs in a mixing bowl, and I'm going to use 1.5 cups of half and half in the eggs. And so we're going to pour that in using our 2-cup measure-all cup to measure out our half and half there. And then I'm going to add in, I don't know, I probably put about a half a teaspoon of salt, and the same for the pepper. I just kind of winged it this time. Sometimes you don't measure, and this is a case where I didn't. So I'm just going to grind some pepper in there, and then we're going to grab our whiskey whisk and give it a good whisk around so that we can mix up that half and half, the eggs and the salt and pepper. The spices in this quiche are very simple. Salt and pepper is it, because I think that the flavor of the caramelized onion and the bacon is truly going to be the star here. I've got our Pampered Chef pie stone, the deep dish pie baker here, and I'm going to put a store-bought pie crust down into it. This is the rolled pie crust from Aldi's. I find that it is just a super duper great crust to work with, and it bakes really, really nicely. I am not a pie crust person. I don't make it from scratch, unfortunately. It's just always been a disaster anytime I've tried, so I'm going to go ahead and just make the store-bought crust, and I am not a pretty pie crust fluter either, so it is going to be rustic, as we say. Now we're going to add in our caramelized onions as well as our bacon right down into the bottom of that pie plate. And we're going to go ahead and mix those around so that they're nice and even within the quiche. I'm going to use our small mix-and scraper to mix those around. If you know anything about me and my love of Pampered Chef, you know that the scrapers are something that I absolutely cannot live without. And the smaller one here was the perfect size to mix this around into the pie plate. Now I did let the onions and bacon cool off just a little bit so that I can incorporate the cheese here. I used 2 large handfuls of the cheese, which is about 2 cups of cheese. You can add a little bit more if you want, or a little bit less. More is always better. And I'm just going to go ahead and mix that in with the bacon and the onions. It's time to add in our beaten eggs in half and half. I always give it a little whisk before I decide to pour it into the quiche, but we're going to go ahead and pour that in, and doesn't that look yummy? And I think it is exactly enough to fill up this deep dish pie plate. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and do my best to make this crust look a little fancy. It's probably not going to look fancy at all, but it'll look like something. This crust is about as pretty as it's going to be, and now we're going to put it in a 400-degree oven on a rimmed baking sheet with a light piece of foil just kind of sitting on top at 400 for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, we're going to take that foil off so that we can brown the top and the crust for 15 or so minutes, and this is about what it will look at when it comes out. You should have the center a little bit jiggly, but not too jiggly, and look at this beautiful, wonderful quiche. We're going to go ahead and slice this beautiful quiche open with the slice and serve. It's a serrated pie server that makes slicing any of your pies or quiches or tarts a whole lot easier. And this quiche has set up so nicely, and I just think it is really pretty. I am super excited to try it, but let's see what it looks like when it comes out. Yummy! That looks and smells amazing. I wonder when they will invent smell-o-vision, but I've got it on the plate there, and I am not the most graceful pie server in the world, but I have a feeling it is gonna taste good. Did y'all see this quiche inside? It is full of lusciousness, caramelized onions, bacon, smoked cheddar cheese. I'm gonna give it a taste test. Ooh-wee. Love it. Love the onion. Okay, I'm excited about this. Oh my. The sweetness of all of those onions comes immediately. Then you've got bacon, and then the smoked cheddar cheese. Or if you need to, you can just add a little bit, maybe a half or a quarter teaspoon of liquid smoke to get the smoky flavor, or you could use smoked gouda. That is such a good quiche, and you know what? It is just balanced in the flavors. Oh my goodness, you can see the bacon in there. One more bite. That might be my best quiche ever, or maybe my most favorite that I've ever made ever. You definitely need to give it a shot. It's super easy, especially if you use a pre-bought, store-bought crust mix. I use the Aldi, the one that's enrolled in the tube at Aldi's, and I have always found that those cook really, really, really well. Better than the other name brands. Really love the Aldi pie crusts. I hope that you loved this video. I hope that you're enjoying the content on the Ramsey Ranch kitchen. We are just getting started. Of course, many of you have come over from our other channel, Smoky Mountain Faith Food and Fun, and we just love and appreciate your support. And for those that are new to the Ramsey Ranch, just seriously, thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting our Pampered Chef endeavors, and we're just very grateful for you. But until next time, I'm going to ask if you'll give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, subscribe to the Ramsey Ranch Kitchen and ring the notification bell, because that will notify you when we post new videos. Until then, get you in the kitchen and cook you something good. We love you all. God bless you, and have a wonderful day. And if you are interested in Pampered Chef, please go over to our Facebook page and like us over there on the Ramsey Ranch Kitchen. And if you wanted to order Pampered Chef, you can do so at pamperedchef.com/PWS/Ramsey Ranch.